In this lesson, you'll learn two beautiful ways to play When I Fall in Love. The first way, which I think is the most beautiful way to play this song, is to alternate between finger-picking patterns. The second way is to play through the entire song using an easy strumming pattern, and we'll take a look at a few variations on this pattern so that you have a few options as you play through the song. In this lesson, you'll find two play-alongs. The first will be a finger-picking play-along after we look at how to apply our finger-picking patterns to the song. The second will be a strumming play-along after we look at how to apply our strumming pattern to the song. For the finger-picking part of this lesson, I'm going to play a tenor with low G tuning. If you have a high G on your instrument, you can follow all of the finger-picking patterns. Just keep in mind that your fourth string is one octave higher than mine, so the patterns will sound a bit different on your instrument. For the second part of the lesson, using our strumming pattern, I'll play a tenor with high G tuning. And for that section as well, you can follow along whether you're playing with high G or low G tuning. Now let's look at how to play the chords in this song. If you're already familiar with these chords, then skip ahead to our first finger-picking pattern or to the strumming pattern. Our first chord is C. This is the third fret of the first string, and you may want to play this chord with your pinky or your ring finger, depending on what chord comes next. Our next chord is D minor. I'm playing D minor with my index finger on the first fret of the second string, and my middle and ring fingers on the second fret of strings 3 and 4. Our next chord is G7. To move from D minor to G7, we're going to keep our index finger in place on the second string. We'll move our middle finger to the second fret of the third string and our ring finger to the second fret of the first string. So make sure you keep your index finger in place when you go from D minor to G7. Our next chord is A7. This is the first fret of the third string. And then next we have F minor. To play F minor, I have my pinky on the third fret of the first string and my index and middle fingers on the first fret of strings 4 and 2. In this song, we move from C to F minor. So this is a great place to play C with your pinky, making an easy transition into F minor. Our next chord is F. I'm playing F with my index finger on the first fret of the second string and my middle finger on the second fret of the fourth string. And then finally we have our A minor chord, which is the second fret of the fourth string. This song consists of 3 sections. We have a short introduction followed by 2 verses. The first verse is 6 lines long, and the second verse is 4 lines long. So let's start by taking a look at our 3 finger-picking patterns and then how to apply them to the song. Here's our first pattern, played on a C chord. I'm starting with an arpeggio or a broken chord played through all 4 strings. Then I'm picking string 4 with my thumb, string 3 with my index finger, and then strings 1 and 2 together with my middle and ring fingers. This pattern covers 4 beats, and the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Our second pattern also covers 4 beats. Here's how this one sounds. For this pattern, I'm playing strings 4 and 1 together with my thumb and ring finger. Then I'm alternating 3 times between strings 3 and 2, playing string 3 with my index finger and string 2 with my middle finger. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Our third pattern covers only 2 beats. the strings that we're picking here are the same as the strings that we picked in pattern 1 after the arpeggio, but the rhythm is different. So in this pattern, the rhythm is 1 and 2 and. In this song, whenever we play this third pattern, we'll play it twice in a row so that we cover a total of 4 beats. Sometimes we play it twice on the same chord and sometimes on different chords. So playing it twice in a row, the rhythm will be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Now let's apply these patterns to our song. Starting with a short introduction, first we have a C chord, and next to C is the number 1 in red. That means that we're going to play our first pattern on C. After this, we have a D minor chord. Here we play pattern 3, and then we play pattern 3 again on G7. So counting out this short introduction, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Taking a look at our first verse, we're starting on a C chord. This chord is shown 3 times at the beginning of line 1. First with pattern 1, then pattern 2, and then back to pattern 1. So here's how it sounds to count this out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. To finish line 1, we'll go to D minor for pattern 3 and then G7 with pattern 3. So the count here is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. In line 2, we're going back to pattern 1 with our C chord. Then we're going to A7, staying on pattern 1. Then to D minor with pattern 2. And we'll finish line 2 with G7 playing pattern 1. Now I'll add in the lyrics to these first 2 lines. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. In line 3, we're going back to our C chord. Here I like to play C with my pinky because our F minor chord comes next, so my pinky is already in place. So we'll play pattern 2 on C, then pattern 2 on F minor, then in line 4 we're going back to our C chord, and here we'll play pattern 3 twice, and then we're going to A7 with pattern 1. In line 5, we're going to D minor with pattern 2, then to A7 with pattern 2, and then in line 6, we're going back to D minor with pattern 3 twice, and we'll finish this verse playing pattern 1 on G7. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give the video a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm Lara. I'm a musician, a composer, and a ukulele teacher, and I hope you have fun exploring my channel, my song tutorials, and my arrangements. The second verse is only 4 lines long, and the first two lines are played the same way as the first two lines of verse 1. When we get to line 3 of the second verse, we're going to play pattern 2 on a C chord, and here you may want to use your pinky again, as it makes for an easy transition to F, which comes next. So we'll start line 3 by playing pattern 2 on C. Then we're going to our F chord with pattern 1. Then to A7 with pattern 1. And now we're slowing down the tempo with the next two chords, going to D minor with pattern 3, and then to F minor. And now we can pause for just a second before resuming the tempo with the word is, and then moving into line 4. In line 4, we'll play pattern 3 on the first 4 chords, starting with C, then going to A minor, then to D minor, and then to G7. And here we can slow down the tempo once again as we move into our final C chord. We're going to end the song playing pattern 2 and then pattern 1 on C. The PDF song sheet for this lesson will have 2 separate pages for this song. The first will be for fingerpicking and the second will be for strumming. You can download the song sheet from my Patreon page, along with my songbook covering all of the songs that I've shared in my tutorials. You'll find the link down below in the video description. Now let's move into our first play along using our fingerpicking patterns. 5, 6, 7, 8. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. In a restless world like this is, love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses seem to cool in the warmth of the sun. When I give my heart, it will be completely, or I'll never give my heart. And the moment I can feel that you feel that way too, is when I fall in love with you. Next we'll move into how to strum the song using an easy strumming pattern and some fun variations. For this section, I'm using a tenor with high G tuning. If you're playing with low G tuning, you can certainly follow along this entire section. Your chords will have a bit more depth, as your 4th string is 1 octave lower than mine. Here's our strumming pattern played on a C chord. The strumming here is down, up, down, down, up, down. Down, up, down, down, up, down. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. and looking at this slowly, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. As we apply this pattern to the song, the chords in black are held for 4 beats, so we'll play one full pattern on all of those chords. The chords that are in green are held for only 2 beats, so for those chords we'll play only half of the pattern, which will only be down, up, down. Now looking at our introduction, our first chord is C, and this is held for 4 beats. So we'll play one full pattern on C, and then D minor and G7 are both held for only 2 beats. So we'll play half of a pattern on each of these chords. So counting out the rhythm for this introduction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now looking at the first verse, all of the chords in this verse are held for 4 beats, except for the D minor and G7 that are in green at the end of line 1. For the rest of the chords, we can play one full pattern. But for D minor and G7, we'll play a half of a pattern on each of these chords. So counting out the rhythm for line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second verse, we have a few more chords in green that are held for only 2 beats each. Line 1 is played the same way as line 1 of the first verse. When we get to line 3, we have a D minor and an F minor chord at the end of the line. These are held for 2 beats each, so we'll play a half of a pattern on each of these chords. And here we can slow down the tempo and then pick it up again with the word is leading into the 4th line. In line 4, we have 4 chords that are held for only 2 beats each. So we'll play half of a pattern on C, on A minor, on D minor, and then on G7. And here we can slow down the tempo again as we approach the end of the song and our C chord. So counting out the rhythm for lines 3 and 4, starting with our C chord at the beginning of line 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's look at some variations on this strumming pattern to give you some options as you play through the song. The first variation would be to eliminate one or both of the up strums. So if we eliminate the first up strum, the pattern will sound like this. If we eliminate the second up strum, it will sound like this. And if we eliminate both up strums, that leaves us with 4 down strums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another option is to eliminate the final up strum and the final down strum. This is a great way to end some of the lines in the song to give a little bit of space in between the strumming. As an example, if we want to apply this to the lines that end with D minor and G7, playing these chords for only half of a pattern each, then we'll play the first half of the pattern on D minor and the second half on G7, and with this variation, it's just 1 down strum. Taking this one step further, we have the option to play an arpeggio or a broken chord rather than a traditional down strum, to really emphasize the end of the line. You can apply this variation to chords throughout the song, and I think it's especially beautiful to apply it to chords that come at the end of the lines. At the end of the song, we have 2 C chords, so I like to play one regular pattern on C, and then this variation on the final C chord with an arpeggio. Next, I hope you'll join me for our second play-along using our strumming pattern. I'll play and sing through the entire song using our strumming pattern and the variations that we covered. 5, 6, 7, 8. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. In a restless world like this is, love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses seem to cool in the warmth of the sun. When I give my heart, it will be completely, or I'll never give my heart. And the moment I can feel that you feel that way too, is when I fall in love with you. I hope you've enjoyed learning 2 beautiful ways to play When I Fall in Love, and I hope you found the 2 separate play-alongs helpful. Have fun practicing, and thanks for watching.